Welcome back to Fight Night Rewind, and I just want to do a quick video on last night's action from the US, where we had Adonis Superman Stevenson versus Jack the Ripper Badou. Look, at light heavyweight for the WBC title. And look, I thought it was a great fight. First of all, hats off to both men. Both men showed a lot of heart, a lot of courage. It was a great fight, but a very close fight as well, I have to admit as well. So the judges scored this fight a majority draw. Two judges scoring it 114-114, and then we had another judge who scored it 115-113 to Badou Jack. Now, let's get straight into it. So I'm going to talk about the first three rounds, all right? Rounds 1 to 3, I gave to Stevenson, all right? I felt Badou Jack gave away the first 3 rounds, and that was through inactivity. Yeah, there wasn't enough activity from Badou Jack, in my opinion, in the first 3 rounds. He was popping out the jab now and then. Sometimes a straight right would go out and land. But in my opinion, I felt Adonis Stevenson was more the aggressor. He was a bit more effective with his aggression. Jabs to the body, jabs to the head, the left to the body, left to the head, hooks, left hooks coming over the top, partially being blocked and stuff like that as well. But I just felt, those first 3 rounds, I think Badou Jack was, and he did admit it in the post-fight interview, stating that, that was the tactics, the first 3 rounds, not to go full throttle, in a sense. And I think he was trying to use the first 3 rounds to kind of work out Stevenson and measure his power and, just analyze Stevenson a little bit. And I felt that probably cost Jack, in the fight overall. I felt he gave the first 3 rounds away, and, I felt Adonis Stevenson clearly won the first 3 rounds. This definitely was a fight of 2 halves. I felt Jack came back in it on the 4th round. I think he did more than enough to just edge that round and pick up that round and win that round. In terms of that, he was starting to be more active, landing the jab more, landing the cleaner shots. Round 5 again, I thought it was a close round throughout the round. I think there was a lot of holding, and it was a little bit messy and untidy, where they were trying to work on the inside, and there was a lot of grappling and stuff like that going on between the two fighters. But I felt like in the last 45 seconds or so of the fight, I think Stevenson just nicked it. It was close up to that point, and then Stevenson started to unload, obviously, the shots, head shots, body shots, etc. And he just nicked the round for me in that 5th round. Round 6, again, I gave it to Stevenson. I just felt, he got in close. He had his punches were more effective, especially to the body, and then obviously mixing it up a little bit to the head. So I gave round 6 to Adonis Stevenson. Round 7 right through to round 9, I felt it was all Badou Jack. I felt Badou Jack started to assert himself from round 7, and he carried that right through to round 9, 8 and 9. He had a lot of success with the headshots, and he hurt Stevenson on a couple of occasions as well. And I just felt, Badou Jack definitely dominated round 7 right through to round 9. Round 10, again, I felt it was a close round, but I felt just towards the end of the round, I think Stevenson just did enough. When he threw that body shot to Badou Jack's body, Jack wilted a little bit, and Stevenson started to apply pressure on him, good pressure on him, and he carried that right through to the end of the round. Made it really uncomfortable, hurt Jack. Jack had to tighten up, keep his elbows low, trying to protect his body. I just felt Stevenson did enough to win that round, and it was from that point where he landed that body shot, which made Badou Jack wilt a little bit, that got him the round and won him the round, in my opinion. Round 11, I actually gave it to Badou Jack. Although I felt Stevenson started the round strong, like the first 45 minutes to a minute, I felt he started the round very strong. I just felt Jack, from after the first minute, took over the round and started to apply himself and apply pressure onto Stevenson, landing the cleaner shots, the better shots, and I just felt he edged it. Look, some of these rounds were so close, it was unbelievable. It was really a really tough fight to score. And then round 12, I obviously clearly gave that to Jack, especially with the success he had at the end. He nearly knocked Stevenson out or knocked him down. Stevenson was holding on for dear life towards the end of the fight, towards the end of the last round, round 12. And for me, Jack Def clearly won that last round. And my overall scorecard read 114-114. Now, yeah, I saw it as a draw as well. I think Badou Jack did not do himself any favours in the early parts of the fight. Like I said, I felt it was a fight of, two halves really, and I think Jack gave away those first 3 rounds, and that cost him massively towards the end of the fight in terms of the decision from the judges. You can't afford to start that late in a championship fight when you're fighting away from home in the champion's backyard in Canada. It's not going to go, it's not going to do you any favors. The judges are always going to probably favor the champion a little bit in a close fight in that situation. I just felt, Badou Jack should have been more active in the first 3 rounds. He just gave those away to Stevenson, in my opinion. Even Floyd Money Mayweather himself said that. He told Badou Jack that, you gave away the first 3 rounds, and that's where it cost him, really, to be honest with you. Jack has that tendency of doing that. He starts a fight quite slow, and then the middle rounds and then the latter part of the rounds is when he turns it on. He probably needs to start thinking about, and that's why he finds himself in these situations, where he gets these majority draws and these like against James DeGale, etc., and stuff like that. He needs to probably start off the blocks quicker. Definitely needs to apply and start applying pressure, and he doesn't have to dominate like in terms of how he was in the latter rounds in the first 3 rounds, but what he does need to do is, establish that jab. Even if you're winning those rounds just simply on the jab, off the jab, at least you're racking up the points. I just felt like he was moving around the ring in the first 3 rounds, and Stevenson was kind of hunting him down and then just like landing punch. And Stevenson wasn't doing anything overall great in those first rounds. He was just making sure he was landing punches and he was throwing more punches. And Jack, just would pop out the jab now and then, pop out the right now and then, and those first 3 rounds cost him. He can complain as much as he wants, but you got to look at your performance and say, well, actually, I should have probably done more in the first half of the fight, and especially in those first 3 rounds, and that's what cost me the win. If he'd racked up the points in the first 2 or 3 rounds, he would have potentially gone out the winner and become the new WBC light heavyweight champion of the world. But definitely, it was a great fight. I'd definitely like to see it again. I definitely think we need to see a rematch again. I think Badou Jack will probably win the rematch, in my opinion. Simply because I think he'll probably learn from this fight and look at it and think, actually, you know what, I need to start off the blocks a lot quicker next time round, and if I do that, I'll get the win. But it was a great fight to watch. It lived up to my expectations as a fight fan. I knew it was going to be a great fight. And when you got Badou Jack in a fight, I have to admit he brings a lot of excitement. I do enjoy watching Badou Jack a lot, and hats off to Stevenson as well. He's an old boy. I think he's 41 now. But he showed a lot of heart, Stevenson. He showed the mentality of a champion. He wasn't going to just give up and lay down for Badou Jack, even during those trying moments. He came back in that 10th round. But in my opinion, I thought it was a great fight. I would love to see it again. I think Badou Jack would win the rematch simply because he would learn from the first fight and realise that, actually, I need to get out of the blocks a lot quicker next time. He doesn't have to do anything fancy, or, he doesn't have to go, go gas himself out in the first few rounds. He just needed to establish that jab a little bit better and rack up the points. Even if you're having a quiet round, a very a low activity round, pop that jab out. Make sure you're keeping your opponent at bay, and you're just even if you're winning the rounds off the jabs, you're racking up the points. And that's where he made a mistake in this fight. I felt, like I said, he gave away the first 3 rounds, and that cost him. And that's why on my score it was 114-114, as it was on 2 judges' scorecard. But great fight. Definitely want to see it again. Hats off to both men. Both of them showed, the mentality of a champion, the hearts of champions, and I definitely want to see the fight again. Let me know what you think, how you saw the fight going. What did your scorecard say? As always, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Cypherbox reminding you to keep it real.